Season 3, Chapter 2, Spanish Grand Prix. After a respectable start to his career as a Ferrari driver, Malachi Wilson's ready to kickstart his 2024 campaign with a victory. However, maybe the Spanish Grand Prix is not the place where it will happen. Regardless, the aim is to try to win at a track at which he is yet to even finish a race.
Welcome along then to what promises to be another fascinating Spanish Grand Prix, a race which saw Max Verstappen win on his first ever appearance with the Red Bull team in 2016. This after the dramatic coming together of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg on the first lap. Will we see more moments for the scrapbook here today? The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, a track that will certainly force the drivers to push themselves. It consists of a very impressive main straight going into turn 1. It's a straight that also offers a DRS zone, so it's likely to be a hot spot for overtakes. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, with Pierre Gasly alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Perez, Lando Norris, Wilson, Hamilton, Bottas, Sainz, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Stroll, Ocon, Callum Ilott, and Mazepin, Russell, Ricciardo, Nicholas Latifi, and Guan Yu Zhou, Mick Schumacher, and Yuki Tsunoda. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Here's Lance Stroll then keeping Sergio Perez at bay as the Aston Martin drivers exit turn number 10. Around goes the Canadian at the exit of the corner, and there he goes. Stopped in front of both the Perez and the Red Bull and with the McLaren behind him. And there goes Malachi Wilson around the outside there. And I think that will most likely be Stroll disqualified from the race for stopping the car in a dangerous position on track. And a safety car has been deployed now thanks to that. So this could put Malachi Wilson in particular and some other drivers around him in a really good strategic position for the remainder of the Grand Prix. They have opportunity to pit here. Let's see what they'll make of it over the course of the rest of the race. Alright, Malachi's been given a golden opportunity here. He's making it up to 4th after all the pit stops. We're only a driver on medium tyres here, so in terms of the drivers around us, it could be a huge advantage as the car makes its way in. Of course, it's a lot slower than the Honda powered cars, but we should be able to make that work with the fact we're on those faster tyres. Here we go, green flag now back in the air, but it's been a terrible restart for Wilson here as he charges towards turn number 1. Perez is way behind him, is about 3/10 off. And Verstappen's 4/10 in front. So those top 3 got away really well, led by the Frenchman Pierre Gasly, our former teammate, into turn 1. We're overshot turn 1 a bit too much there, so going through turn 2 that cost us a bit more. And Perez is now right there with us, so we'll keep an eye on Valtteri Bottas behind us as well. He's going to want to try and make a move on the Mexican if he can. Of course, Perez was stuck behind Lance Stroll in the instant that brought out the safety car. We managed to get himself going again, so he's all good on that front. We're just chasing Verstappen here. The Dutchman in front, the reigning world champion, is our main focus as we make our way through sector number 2 here. He's half second up the road as of right now. We're using our ERS to try and stay with him here, because I mean, if he weren't, I think he probably would have pulled away a decent amount by now. Of course, Leclerc is almost a full second in front of us, and Gasly's even further up the road. You can only just see him in the distance. Of course, this straight going down towards turn 10 will be a DRS zone in a couple of laps' time, so we've got to keep an eye out for that. We're still chasing him here, unable to really make anything work with the use of the ERS, and we've almost used our entire deploy for this lap, so we're going to have to wait until the next lap for it to really have any good effect as we just have a look at our tyres here. Of course, those mediums may not even last the end of the race, so we may have to take that risk of trying to go to the end. We'll have to see if we're really in that situation later on in the Grand Prix. To make our way to the fast chicane here, Malachi's had a terrible run there to that last corner. So they go off the last corner and back towards the finish line here to begin at lap number 17 of the Grand Prix. About halfway through this thing now. Perez is on the chase there down towards turn number 1. He's within 2/10. It's only just within 2/10. Will he go for a move to the inside? I think he's close enough, and we're definitely getting a good position to defend from him. We're still chasing the Dutchman in front. He's our main priority. So move on towards the end of lap number 17 now. The DRS is now being enabled. So as we turn towards that first corner, we're using the ERS in order to try and close down him. Of course, we won't have the DRS down this straight. We'll have to wait until the hairpin at turn 10 for it to really have any effect. So through turn 1 and 2 we go with 3/10 behind Verstappen. They're really close up in the corners. One of the exits where he gets us, and we're using the ERS here in order to try and stay with him as much as we can. Just prepare ourselves for that DRS zone of turn 9. Gone way wide there through turn 4, so we're going to lose a little bit of time. Making our way up now to the DRS zone after that blind right-hander at turn 9. We've gone over the curb a little bit. No warnings of track limits on that front, so we're all good there. Chasing Verstappen with the DRS and the ERS deployed now. We were 7/10 behind So if we add that with a toe down the main straight, it could really do some damage to the gap the Dutchman has on us. So here we go now through sector 3. He's got to keep things nice and clean here in order to really stand a chance of doing this. So of course he's got his eye on Leclerc in front, so he can have DRS as well as Gasly continues to try and pull away up front. So we have to be careful because we actually use that DRS to our advantage. Verstappen gets a really good run for the last corner every time, so that's where we're struggling. So it's going to be a tough ask in order to make it down this main straight. But I reckon we could do it in maybe a couple of laps time or so. There we go now towards turn number 1. We're using that ERS, but it just wasn't enough. We're trying to save it as much as we can for the DRS zone later on the lap, as well as using it to try and stay with him in sector over the course of the rest of sector 1 and of course all of sector 2. So there we go then, unable to catch Verstappen on that run. So as he push further on now to the end of lap number 19, the start of lap number 20 here. We set a really good lap time. It's the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and we've got a pit window opportunity here. Now Scott coming to the pits, according to the team. We've got a key decision coming up here on the left-hand side, and so we've got two options here. Should Malachi either A, pit for soft tyres and try and fight for the points, or B, sacrifice that fresh rubber for a chance to finish on the podium. Now, of course, we do want to go all out on these medium tyres. There's a chance we might even make it to the end of the race. But all in all, the target here is to finish on the podium, as you saw at the start of the episode when we got back on the way after the safety car. So I reckon we'll go with option B here. So that's what we're going to go for and try and make it to the end of the Grand Prix. We're going to deny our team order to make us come into the pits. But that means we do have to get Verstappen in order to really stand a chance over the course of this one. And we've got to catch him sooner because these medium tyres start dropping off there. Verstappen goes slightly looser through turn number 7 there. But he still managed to stay in front of us. He's only 3/10 up as he make our way out turn 9. We've got a really poor exit there compared to him because we were on the curb. So we did gain nothing. I come very close to contact there, almost hitting the back of his back right tyre. We're right there with him now to make our way through sector 3. Leclerc is up there trying to harangue Gasly, trying to chase him for the top spot. But we're just focusing on the Dutchman as we have been throughout this entire thing. Look how close we get through sector 3. Going into the final chicane, we need a good run here in order to really stand a chance. We're right there behind him. We've got a bit wider there, but Verstappen gets a really good exit compared to us. We're still right there with him off the straight, and that might be where it's killing us because we've got to get our momentum back. And by that point, Verstappen's 3/10 up the road. We could still catch him if we go audacious into turn 1. I don't think we'll be able to pull it off. Nope, stay in line here. We don't want to take any risks that could potentially damage our car and damage our chances of finishing in that top 3. Right, so we have to wait a little bit longer then to really have a go. On to lap number 24. A couple laps later, Verstappen once again a bit loose through turn number 8. And into turn 9 we go. This time we got on the curb just the right amount, but he's just too far in front for us to really have any effect. We've been using the ERS to stay with him over the course of the lap, and it's just not really helping us down the main straight. So let's try and save some here if we can. Making our way through to the end of lap number 27 now, a couple of laps later, and Verstappen's a lot farther in front. We've gone way wide there, and through the DRS zone, we didn't actually get the DRS that time. So that's not good. That could be our chances done with the medium tyres starting to fade a little bit.
They're starting to pull away from us.
Yeah, there he goes from Jeff saying Verstappen's pulling away, and he is indeed pulling away. So he's a second in front of us to make our way towards turn 1. I think we might actually have to kiss goodbye any chance we have of finishing on the podium short of a retirement like we saw in late on when Verstappen retired. Pushing on to lap number 30 there as Verstappen sets the fastest lap now. And now we've got to focus on what's going on behind us because Sergio Perez, Verstappen's teammate in the other Red Bull, is closing in on us. He's within a second. He's got DRS. This is where things will get very, very tight here in these closing 3 laps of the Grand Prix. It's definitely going to be tough for us to keep him behind. I reckon we can pull it off in this Ferrari because it's still a very good car and we should be able to do it. So going through turn 3 there, he's 6.5 tenths behind, so we have to focus here as he makes a push further on now into the race, into lap number 32. We've got a lap and a half to hold him off, but our tyres are fading here, and Perez is right there with us. Here he comes down towards turn 10. He's not going to go for a move. He's not close enough to go for a move. It's similar to how we were with Verstappen a couple of laps ago while we were attempting to catch him. Perez on those hard tyres has still got grip to spare, and that's why he's catching. That's where he's caught us. That's why he's going to be all over us in this last lap in the race. For P4, we have to take what we can here. See Verstappen now 6 seconds up the road. Our chances of a podium are completely shot at this point, almost like our tyres as Gasly and Leclerc set fastest laps in succession. Going to make our way around here for the start of the last lap of the Grand Prix. It's going to be very tight. Perez is half a second behind as he charged towards that first corner. Is it going to be enough for him to go for a move? He's closing in by a decent amount. Will he go to the inside? He's not going to do it. He's staying conservative for the time being, just to try and get close enough to really make that move and make us pay in the closing couple of points of this Grand Prix. Here he comes further into the lap then. Pierre Gasly's come around the final corner to take his second victory of the season for AlphaTauri. It's a really good start to the season for him. Perez is still all over us here as we make our way towards turn 10. We've gone into the grass there, so that's even less grip on our tyres, and we've almost gone a bit wide in succession. There goes Perez on our inside looking into turn 11. And through turn 12 there, we went a bit wide. We've managed to cover him off for the time being. It's not going to be over yet. Perez could still go for a move as we enter turn 13. We've gone way wide there. Perez could see an opportunity into the final chicane, which we overshot. As the car crossed the corner, then we forced him out, and it's very scrappy, but it is the way to finish things off. We're going to come to the line here to claim P4 end of the day, and that is chapter fail, because of course the objective was to finish on the podium, and we couldn't quite do that in the end, so very unfortunate on that front. But we gave it our best effort, and the key decision maybe wasn't the right call in the end, but we went for that risk, and I do think that the team would definitely applaud us for doing so, as opposed to trying to fight for points like the last few points at the end of the race. So Gasly wins there. It's another 1-2 for AlphaTauri, and that beast we helped create in the first 2 seasons of this series is finally starting to come to fruition here and challenging for race victories and currently holding on to the championship lead. So we've got some work to do in order to catch the Frenchman in the monogas. And then Verstappen's also up there as well, but he's a couple of points behind after the retirement in Bahrain a couple of rounds ago. He's still trying to make up for that. But yeah, all in all, a decent race. I definitely enjoyed it, just trying to go on the attack between the Red Bulls and the AlphaTauri. Unfortunately, our efforts were fruitless in the race, but yeah, I still enjoyed it all the same. Regardless, so it is Gasly taking the victory, then with Charles Leclerc in second place and Verstappen rounding out the podium. We come home in 4th place, Perez in 5th, Esteban Ocon finishes 6th for Alpine, Ilott in 7th, Bottas 8th, Hamilton 9th, and Mazepin takes his first points on his return to F1 with the other Alpine. So with that, ladies and guys, that is the end of the episode. I do hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe as well. And if you're new around here, then make sure to check out the playlist to get yourself caught up on the Prodigy before I release the next few episodes. Regardless, thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed yourself, and goodbye. Malachi Wilson brings the car home in 4th place, failing to finish on the podium. He must console himself with the knowledge that he has once again beaten teammate Carlos Sainz and move on to Monaco.